Writing equivalent ratios. We can write equivalent ratios using the same strategies we use to write equivalent fractions. Multiply or divide both quantities by the same value. Practice by writing 3 equivalent ratios to each one listed. There are lots of possible answers to this. When we write equivalent ratios, as long as we multiply or divide by the same number, we'll end up with an equivalent ratio. So let's start with 2 to 3. Let's say I multiplied both of those by 2. I would get 4 to 6. What if instead I multiplied my original by 7? 2 times 7 gives me 14, and 3 times 7 gives me 21. So 14 to 21 is also an equivalent ratio. I could have also multiplied by 100. I would have gotten 200 to 300. That is another equivalent ratio. Let's take a look at 15 to 5 together, and I'm going to leave you totally on your own to do 20 to 70 by yourself. So 15 to 5, I'll use the same strategy for an equivalent ratio. If I multiply those both by 2, 15 times 2 gives me 30, and 5 times 2 gives me 10. Here's the thing though, 15 and 5, they have a common factor. 5 goes into both 5 and 15. So let's think of dividing instead. If I took my original and divided both those values by 5, 15 divided by 5 would give me 3, and 5 divided by 5 would give me 1. So I could also think of the ratio 3 to 1. If I really wanted to, I could modify either of these ratios because since these 3 are all equivalent, it doesn't matter which one of these I start with. If I multiply any of those by a number, I'll get yet another equivalent ratio. So let's take this one, 3 to 1, and multiply it by 2. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2. So 6 to 2 is another equivalent ratio. Would have been kind of hard to jump there right from 15 to 5, but it's not that bad when I start from 3 to 1. I am not going to fill in these answers for you, these last 3. I'd like you to fill them in on your own, please. So take a moment now, come up with 3 equivalent ratios that mean the same thing as 20 to 70.